Hello, CX Arabia. Today we have a special guest. We have Joe Pine. Hi, Joe. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Maher. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for being with us, Joe. Just to talk, to introduce you, Joe, to our audience, you have added a lot. You are the one who created the experience economy theory or a practice class in 1999. It was the early thinking and providing the mind shifting for the experience. And then you have relaunched the new book in 2020. So just if you can, you have added a lot for the experience. You work in different in strategic horizon as a co-founder. You have built this kind of uh, new way of doing the experience and changing the way of business. And you have added a lot. You do some lectures in the university, and you have added a lot. If you could introduce more yourself to our audience as well, please.
Well, yeah, as you mentioned, what I do is I try and figure out what's going on in the world of business, and then develop frameworks that first describe what's happening, and then prescribe what companies can do about it. So I do write a lot of books, a lot of articles, and then do a lot of speaking, teaching, and workshops with companies to be able to help them embrace the experience economy as well as other concepts that I talk about, and then be able to apply them to their own business to create greater economic value for their business, and greater value for their customers.
Yeah, yeah. And what's great about it that, as what you said, you have described and prescribed how the business should react, and you are building this framework of understanding the practical way of how to go from being understanding doing the researches, understanding the customers, analyzing the situations, and react. Doing this for the past 40 years, maybe now, right, Joe, or more? Yeah, a little bit. So
I
how
think
you
I
see
was going
that?
to say I actually have been doing this for 30 years,
Uh-huh.
first at IBM, and then on my own, and then with my partners, Jim Gilmore, my co-author in the Experience Economy, as well as our third partner, Doug Parker.
Great. So how it's changed from where it started till now, and especially the experience economy. If we take how you divide it, and you have written these impressive articles and book, and the new launches, it changed now. We are going and talking more about the experience.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we are not doing a lot on this side of it. So how we can understand the situation from your point of view, and how we can take it.
Right. Well, there's a number of different things. So when I first started talking about the experience economy in the 1990s, with the book coming out in 1999, I used to have to argue with people, right, and try and convince them that this is what was going on. That goods and services were no longer enough. Goods and services being commoditized, and what people wanted are experiences. And
Yeah.
now I don't have to argue with people anymore. I just say it, and even if somebody's never heard of it before, they agree, they understand,
Yeah.
right? Because you can see it. It's now so much more in the air. In 1999 we talked about the forthcoming, the nascent, the emerging experience economy, and today when we re-released it for the third time in 2020, we talked about how it is here. We are now in an experience economy. So
Yeah.
people today, young people today, have basically grown up in an experience economy. And of course, the biggest thing and difference between back then and now is the rise of digital technology, and particularly smartphones,
Uh-huh.
where we have access to all of these digital experiences that we didn't have before. I mean, yeah, we had computer games and that sort of thing, but it's so much greater now that physical places in particular have to compete with digital places, not just physical places, for the time, attention, and money of individual human beings, right? So that's the other core big difference that's going on.
Excellent. Now, so when we are talking about the revolution, we have a new generation with a digital experience overall, and the digital places are competing with the physical, especially after this massive force, which is
Yes.
COVID and the transformation. So when we are talking about digital, is digital the new era, or digital is part of the full experience economy? And how people are reacting, because how we can compete between physical and digital, while the speed is matter in both, they are not always the same till now, and some touch is still not there. We cannot live the experience as you describe it, because people are looking for a memorable experience. They
Right.
go, they do the shopping, they live it, and I love the example of this gumball and yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it the digital is absolutely a part of the experience economy. As you said, Mara, it's really about creating that memory. So you have to engage people, reach inside of them, engage them in an inherently personal way, and thereby create that memory. And we can do that physically. We can do that digitally. We can also do that in what I call with fused experiences that fuse the real and the virtual. So I wrote a book called Infinite Possibility, Creating Customer Value in the Digital Frontier. And that has a framework in it that is all about what are all the different ways that you can fuse the real and the virtual. And I think a lot of great experiences are going to be that way. I think it's not a matter of we're going to try and upload ourselves to the metaverse and spend as much time there as humanly possible. It's, I think, augmented reality and what's called alternate reality have much more promise because they bring people into the real world, but enhance those experiences with digital technology. Right? And that's going to create a more robust experiences. The real world is always going to provide the richest of experiences. So let's get people out there in that, but then fuse it with digital technology to be able to engage them further in ways that are impossible, merely in reality.
Okay, great. Now, if I want to talk about this kind of digital experience in specific, I'm looking at my 9 years kid now.
Yep.
He is now just go to the internet. He see on YouTube a lot of videos, and then he come, Dad, I need to order this from Amazon, from our local Noon, for example, and then he ordered them. So he have the experience, and he got the staff, and he do the full experience. So what is the definition of the experience economy, and how we can take it? If I just go to the basics, Joe, and with some examples just to define it. So how we see what is the experience economy in general, how we reach to this point, and what is it?
Right. Well, it's good to contrast it with the previous economy. So we started with an agrarian economy based off commodities, right, including oil as a key commodity. We shifted into an industrial economy based off goods, physical, tangible things. Then in the 20th century, we shifted into a service economy based off the intangible activities that people do. And so today we've shifted into an experience economy. So an experience economy, it's not that commodities, goods, services go away. Yeah. It's just that they're less a part of gross domestic product of GDP, and they employ fewer people over time. And so where GDP, where employment is going, it's shifting into experiences. And again, the definition of experiences is memorable events that engage each individual in an inherently personal way, right? That's what experiences are. One of the easiest ways to see it around the world is with the coffee industry. I mean, every industry has its progression of economic value, but we all know coffee, right? So coffee at its core is beans. It's a commodity. Farmers grow beans. They sell them on the open marketplace. And then if you convert the price, the future price of coffee from a per pound to a per cup basis, farmers get about 2 or 3 cents per cup, right? U.S. cents per cup. That's what they get. But if you take those beans and you roast them, grind them, package them, put them on a grocery store shelf, now you get 5, 10, 15 cents per cup of coffee. If you perform the service of actually brewing it for a customer in a vending machine, a kiosk, a corner diner, a bodega, 7-Eleven somewhere, now you get 50 cents, $1.50 per cup of coffee. But surround the ambiance and the brewing of them with in a Starbucks, right? Now you're paying $3, $4, $5 US, right? So you have one industry with 4 distinct levels of value, depending on what business they think they're in.
Excellent. So what you said, and the definition from you, I think, is making the memorable experience, the customer experience, how to make it memorable events, so people will enjoy and will pay for what they feel and how they memorize the whole service taken from this and the commodities. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, excellent. So now how can we create this experiences? How we can think about a current business, especially today, all the businesses are very common now. So the services in general, the intangible things, or all kind of services are in general very similar now. Yeah. And people are looking for memories. How we can create these memories, for example, in the digital world or in the normal commodities or services?
Right, and when you said that people treat services the same, right? That means they're being commoditized, right? That's the key. Yeah, is that you've got to forestall the forces of commoditization to create engaging experiences. And in the 2020 re-release of the book, we put this into 5 core elements, 5 elements to think about staging experiences. And it's, you want to stage experiences that are robust, cohesive, personal, dramatic, and even transformative. So whether they're physical, whether they're virtual, whether they're fused in between, right? That's what you need. You need to create robust experiences that really hit the sweet spot between being entertaining, educational, escapist, and aesthetic. Cohesive experiences are about the theme, that you need to have an organizing principle for the experience. And that's the theme, right? We think of theme parks and theme restaurants and so forth.
Yeah.
But it can be much more subtle than that. And what a theme does is it allows the experience to be cohesive, to hang together. Otherwise, if you don't have a theme, you tend to throw in there everything but the kitchen sink, as we say. Then you need to make them personal, right? Experiences happen inside of us. It's a reaction to the events that are staged in front of us. So you need to customize those experiences as much as possible and customize the goods and services in order to create that experience. And that gets back to my first book, Mass Customization, about efficiently serving customers uniquely. And of course, digital technology with digital experiences, anything you can digitize, you can customize. Right? Once it enters the realms of zeros and ones, you can instantaneously change a 0 to a 1 and vice versa. So it enables that customization that reaches inside of people and engages them. And then you
digitalization. I'm sorry, just digitalization making the personalization much easier now, because you have the data, you know your customers, so you can take it more if you are using it. So
exactly.
Yeah. So after personalization, we have
then it's dramatic, right? Dramatic experiences, which means you can't have it like a flat experience where nothing much happens. You need to have something that rises up to a climax and comes back down again. And the core principle there is to understand that when you stage experiences, work is theater. It's not a metaphor. I don't mean work as theater. I literally mean work is theater, that whenever workers are in front of customers, they need to engage them in their performance, right? And that engagement, again, creates that great experience. And then finally, the 5th element is transformative, where you use experiences as the raw material to guide people to change, to help them achieve their aspirations, because we only ever change through our experiences. And increasingly, we want to hire companies to, whether it's fitness centers, whether it's healthcare, whether it's coaches, and B2B management consultants are in the transformation business. We want to hire people to help us achieve our aspirations. My colleagues and I wrote an article in the January-February issue of the Harvard Business Review this year, 2022, called The New You Business. And that's what it's about, is that help your customers create a new you. And that's the greatest economic value you can provide.
Excellent. So these 5 steps, just to start with them: robust, cohesive, personal, dramatic, and transformative. We will go for them. We create a new business. And is it easy to create the new business within the organization? Shall we go with the normal steps if we are talking, or just trying to make some more value to our audience as well?
Yeah.
If we understand just how to do analysis for our business and what it will be, the new business, as what you called it, the new business, how we can create it, how we start with the market insights, with internal capabilities, how we can go inside out, outside in. And I read the previous articles as well. Are our employees involved? Where they come?
Well, there can be as many ways to go about it as there are companies that are doing it. But it's important to realize that experiences are built on top of services, which are built on top of goods, which are made out of commodities. So if you have excellent goods and services, right, you use that as the base to be able to create experience. And it is a matter of thinking about those 5 elements, but the easiest one, again, is theater, right? Is if you have a service business and you simply direct your workers to act, right, which means you help them think about how they do what they do, right? The what is the functional activities you've got to do. How you go about doing that can create any mundane interaction and turn it into an engaging encounter. So, for example, my favorite example of that is a company that's in the business of installing and repairing computers. And they call themselves the Geek Squad, right? So the Geek Squad has this persona of being a geek. They have white shirts, thin black ties that are clip-on ties. They have black pants and shoes with white socks that really make the uniform pop. They drive around in these geek mobiles, black and white Beetles with the Geek Squad logo emblazoned on the side. And when they get to your home or your offices, the first thing they'll do is they'll pull out their badge and say, "Hi, I'm from the Geek Squad." Then slowly step away from that computer, sir, and they go about giving you a computer repair experience. And the founder of the company, Robert Stevens, says he wants to make a computer repair experience so engaging that customers can't wait till the computers break down. Right? So they do the same functional activities, the service activities of
Best with
fixing
acting.
your computer, installing it, adding software, whatever it might be. But how they go about doing that, again, creates a memorable experience.
Excellent. So if we talk, this is a new business. This is how we transform a very normal business to an act as a theater. How we can do this if we are in a bank or we are in a big companies, in a government, or I don't know, because government nowadays, especially in our region, are competing in the experiences, as you know, Joe. They have done a great efforts, and especially this kind of services. Government, we have hotels, for example, and hotels may be the easiest.
Yeah, a lot of tourism areas, for example, that the governments in Arabia are creating, and so for any business, it's really to the first thing is to understand what business are you really in, and you need to decide to be in the experience business. And once you do that, then you can gain the right mindset that says, okay, what it's about is the value we provide to customers, about engaging them inside again and be able to create that experience. So then you start to think about how you go beyond the goods and services to be able to do that. Again, in hospitality, for example, that you mentioned, in tourism, there's a lot that you can do with the architecture of places. You can make places that are wow experiences just by being in them. But you always have to remember, it's the interaction that people have with those places and with those people that's most important. But then following those 5 elements of robust, cohesive, personal, dramatic, and even transformative will take you along that path, right? In particular, what is your drama? Drama is the design of time, right? And that's the number one important thing with experiences, is you're designing the time that people spend with you. So drama takes that time and says, okay, how do we again rise up to a climax, and how do we come back down again? And that drama will go a long ways to be able to create an experience in whatever the business is that you're in.
Excellent. So the drama here is the positive meaning of a drama, the full experience, how to attract them, do this story, and just create them like they are living a movie. And I like this geek computer company, because the example just made a normal traditional business to a new one. Like there is a restaurant here, for example, he's doing this they called it the haunted house restaurant. So you go, and then you have the zombies all over the places coming for you as a show, and then you will enjoy the show. So great. So if we are talking about the digital, how we can make this kind of drama staging experience in a digital, because it's not easy. Maybe people want it to be very fast. They want the service to be more memorable in a different way. Maybe we can deliver it faster. I'm just thinking now.
Well, the key to understand there is sometimes all we want is service. When we want it delivered faster, when we want it nice and easy and convenient, when we want it to be frictionless, as we often talk about in CX terms, right? Then that means all you're providing is a great service, right? So sometimes that's what people want. But then when you have the opportunity to create that experience, is to think about how you manage that time. And instead of giving them time well saved, which is what good service is, experiences are about time well spent. That they value the time that they spend with you, and that's designing that time is the number one core thing. And you may still build it on top of nice, easy, convenient, frictionless services, right? You think about going to a movie, a concert, a play, a theme park, a sporting event, or whatever, right? You've got your ticket. You don't want to spend a half hour outside where they examine your ticket and wait in long lines in that. You want to be able to get in as quickly as possible. You want the service aspect to be time well saved. It's why Disney, for example, has the Magic Band, where you don't even have to bring out a ticket. You just like pop it in, and it says whether you're valid ticket for that day. And it takes you a second to be able to do that, and you're on your way in the park. So the service aspects provide the time well saved. On the experience aspects, provide the time well spent.
Excellent. And if I'm thinking now about this kind of theater or the staging experience and how we can do it, maybe when we deliver the items, how we can take them on the website, how we create this kind of moments that people will talk about our experience. So it will be, as what you described it, a memorable
Right. Well,
moments.
think about what few companies do is design the time of the delivery, right? So I
Yeah.
make an order and then it's delivered, right? And there's this black hole that happens, right? So what you want to do is how do you provide drama in there? Such as being able to let people track their packages, such as letting them know when it's coming, like, and who put their package together, who's delivering it, right? Having a personal interaction there can be helpful and turn into experience, as well as think about what's the box opening experience. Apple spends millions of dollars on the box opening experience of every product it ships because they want that to be just so. But we don't think about it in very many other businesses. So if you're delivering things, think about what happens when they then open that box. That's sort of the climax. That's the signature moment that you have, and how you design that is incredibly important.
Excellent. So there is always an opportunity to create an experience, even if it's a digital or normal service. So
yes,
excellent.
Yes,
excellent. So now, if I want to talk about the employee readiness in the organization, so they can be have this transformative mindset and have this kind of idea creation, because this is what you do basically, Joe. You help people to think in a new way of doing the business, right? How we can make our employees ready to do this kind of innovation and thinking of.
Yeah, if you want to create a great experience for your customers, well, then you better create a great employee experience for them to give them the wherewithal. So again, and we talked about theater, so you need to teach them theater techniques. You need to help direct them to act. You need to understand how they do what they do, and then give them roles to play. Right. So my partner and I, we've actually come out with a frontline video training offering called On Stage, right? Which recognizes when you're in front of customers, you're on stage. And it's got 5 modules, including how you do what you do, and including one on the being personal and so forth. And it's a great way to be able to understand the imperative for acting on a business stage. So however companies do it, though, is that they need to be able to understand that imperative, and then again direct their workers to act, but give them the wherewithal to do it, including rehearsal time and so forth, and understanding of what their roles are.
Excellent. So it needs an organization internally. Then we go with acting, and everyone has his role. And for this video, they said on stage how we can have an access it. Can we reach it through you, or how we can?
Yes, you can. You can find it on our website. I see you had it at the bottom at www.strategichorizons.com or On Stage Training. OnStageTraining.com. You'll find it there, and it also can be, it can be subtitled in any language that you want as well, right? So Excellent. It's in basic English because it's my partner Jim and I talking about all of these concepts, but it can be subtitled, and it can be, one person can buy it just for their own edification, or it can be done on a department basis or on a company-wide basis.
Excellent. We'll put the link as well on the video, on the podcast, so we'll have the access for it. Great discussion, Joe, and I think it opens a lot of I would say it removes a lot of ways and open minds just to think on the experience on a different way. Is it easy to implement, or it's not? It's difficult. It depends on the organization readiness, I think. Or?
Yes, exactly. It depends on the organization. It depends on the mindset, right? The biggest barrier is if you continue to have a mindset of just services, then you're going to be in trouble. Like, one of the best retail experiences in the world is Apple stores. They have the highest sales per square foot of any other retailer. And I was just quoted an article in Bloomberg Business Week about how they're starting to push their people in the stores to sell and get people to upsell, in particular to upgrade. Like, rather than fix that phone, get our latest iPhone 14. And it's degrading the employee experience because they feel like salespeople instead of geniuses now. And it's degrading the experience that customers have as well. And it's starting them down the road of commoditization, where they're becoming like every other technology company out there. And it's something that they really need to stop in its tracks, right? Because they're starting to gain the mindset of service and sales instead of experience. And being helpful.
So it's like this kind of escalator. So you need to do this every time just to stay on the top and to keep posting it, right?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. So now if we want to conclude now and to have this at the end, we would love to have the advice from you to our audience, the one thing that they need to do after hearing this podcast and after hearing this uh, interview, just to go for this experience economy, to start there, to start from a
Yeah.
tangible way with the great building experience economy, I'd say.
Well, the number one thing to do is to ascend to the proposition that you're in the experience business. And if you do that, everything will follow. Then you'll be able to figure out the ways that you can engage customers and to create that experience within them, and in particular, create that memory that is the hallmark of the experience.
Excellent. Thank you, Joe, for this interview. I don't know, I don't want to take more of your time, but if you want to add any more thing, we can okay, and then we can have this episode. And thanks for this amazing discussion. I'm sure we'll go and check the videos and the website more and more with this approach. And I advise everyone just to take the book, the new one, to know more about the 5 steps model of building the experience economy.
Super. Thank you, Mara.
Thank you,
I really
Joe.
appreciate the opportunity to talk about this to your great audience.
Thank you very much.